Okay, so today, this is a fun one. I haven't had a video request before, maybe because I've only had 2 videos. We often think of like finding gender euphoria from the things that we were kind of denied throughout our whole life. So the question is, are there any masculine things that you enjoy, but now you enjoy it in like a feminine way? I guess I do need to caveat that this is just my perception based off my upbringing and my social influences of what I perceive to be something that's masculine. And before we get started, I am trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so if you could please subscribe, do it. It's good for you. So the number one thing is watching sports. This is something that I never really got into in the old days. Like I literally would pretend to watch sports. And I remember one time I was at a neighbor's like Super Bowl thing, and the Packers were playing, and it was like the dad of my crush. I was for some reason really wanting to impress the dad. And so I pretended to know what was happening in football, and we would have like a whole conversation. And to this day, I don't I listened to what other people were saying and I tried to copy as best I could. But like to this day, I don't know if he like literally thought that I was doing it or he was just entertained by the idea that I would really try to pretend like I knew was going. And I think it was probably the latter, but here we are. So I never got into sports. Like I still don't really know the rules to football or any other of the sports. But obviously like you could be like feminine and a woman and still enjoy sports. And I learned that when I like worked on a team of cis women, presumably, at a daycare center where I was the only person who like wasn't into the Packers playing like in the playoffs or whatever. I will say that since dating a trans woman who's like really into watching sports, she's actually going to be watching a game tonight. I'm going to go join her watching her college basketball team, I think it is. I don't know. But I enjoy it with her, and then like she's happy to kind of like teach me stuff. Like, we went to a hockey game together and it was like super fun. And yeah, so number one is watching sports. 3 hours later. Number two is cycling, actually. So I don't really play sports. I still don't do, but I was always really into cycling. Bike that is a road cycle that my dad gave me for my birthday. It's always been like a coping mechanism. If I'm really stressed, I go for a long ride. And I was also like a monetary thing. I was a food courier for a number of years. That was a lot of fun. But like you get into like cycling things, like one day I like bumped into some cycling bros and like I clearly did not fit in with them. Like they were just really bro-y. And I looked it up and it's like 74% of competitive cyclists are men. But this is still something that I still enjoy, and I got really into it last summer, and I'm looking to get back into it again this summer. I just love being on my bicycle. I feel like me, and it's a way for me to connect with the world, and it's a way for me to connect with like my past, since it was such a big deal for me in some really challenging years. And also, that's for another time. Boop. But I met another food courier who's trans, and there was a fun story there. Okay, number 3, black coffee. Like no cream, no sugar, just black. Look, I'm a Starbucks barista. This is not a guy thing versus girl thing. I know plenty of women who love black coffee, and I know plenty of men who love pumpkin spice lattes. But there is that association there. And I do have a funny story with that. There's this guy that comes through. He's an older gentleman, and he's always getting like whatever, like pumpkin spice latte or whatever. And like for the longest time, he's saying he's getting it for his coworker. And then I'm thinking like, oh, like maybe this is like a crush or what. So it's either two things are happening. Like he gets this like every other day, he gets something for a coworker. So either he's crushing on this lady and he like wants to like, yo, like, how about we get coffee sometime together? But increasingly, I'm starting to think that he's just getting it for himself. And he doesn't feel like he's allowed to just like it for himself. But that I promise you, I'm a Starbucks barista. We get all types of people getting all types of coffee. It is not a thing. It is not really a thing. If you look in statistics, maybe you'd find something sadistically significant. Like black coffee can be a little sadistic at times, but I still enjoy black coffee. Starting at Starbucks, I started to enjoy Starbucks drinks and the different sugar flavors that they add to things. But like when I'm making stuff for myself, it is black coffee. I want to taste the notes. I want to taste the crema. I want to taste the nuance, the beauty of this bean and where it came from. But now I do it in a girly way. Number 4, video games. So video games, anyone who's ever seen an Anita Sarkeesian video ever with Anita Sarkeesian, she was pushing back on the sexist tropes that were appearing in video games, and then sexist men and sexist women were pushing back, saying like, nope, this is the correct way to make video games. It's made for men. Like that is the claim that they were making. And like that's obviously not true. Like plenty of cis women play video games. And I think Anita Sarkeesian, pictured here, helped further normalize that. I just love Anita Sarkeesian, and anyone has an issue with that, again, GTFO. Like, it's definitely a stereotype that trans women love the Nintendo Switch. And this is something that I definitely enjoy in a feminine way, in particular, Skyrim. Skyrim was always an outlet for me, and it was escapist. I was in a very toxic home environment, and getting into Skyrim and then just having a girl character. Like I started that game over like 5 times, and 4 of the times we had female characters. And I would, like I'd make the claim like, oh, I just want to see, like if I'm going to look at something, since I'm such a straight male, I want to look at a cute woman. But then I'd be in first person all the time. So I'm not seeing the avatar ever. Sometimes you just gotta laugh. But I started that back up, and this time I made a character that looks like me. And I'm like all second lifing it and stuff like that. To the point where my girlfriend's like, do I need to worry about Uthgerd? It's like, no. Look, Uthgerd and I ended up we're separated. She's living with someone else. She has the kids. And Lydia and I are having a great time, and we're back on speaking terms. Jeez, I feel like these could be like individual episodes or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'll just put this all out in one thing. But number 5 is jazz bass. This is a double whammy. So in jazz, it is very bro-y. It's just, there was like a handful of women players in my jazz like program. Look, it was very bro-y. I had to say and do a lot of things that I am very ashamed of in order to fit in. So I went to this jazz jam like with my jazz group, and the saxophone player, he got upset that here was this woman who is his age who was better than him, and he was really upset by that. How could a woman be better than him? Like, right? Like that was a big deal for him. Like, right? Like, what is happening right now? I didn't know what to say, so I didn't say anything. But like all of our other bandmates gave him crap for feeling that way, but like in a way that was like, haha, you suck. Like, what? And so I come out as a woman, and then I literally had this thought. When I start thinking about jazz, I was like, oh God, I suck at jazz now. That was a day of journaling as right there. But my gender actually has no effect. And I've been a woman this whole time. And then the other part of, for the women that are in jazz, they don't play instruments, they sing. To the point where I went to my first jazz jam as a woman. The lady who, I don't know if she knew I was trans at first. She definitely had never spoken to a trans person before, but like her first thing was like, oh, do you sing? Now, no one's asked me this before, but this is a thing in jazz where like, if you're a woman, people expect you to sing. It's a thing. And my response was initially confusion, and then like, well, why the hell not? I had a mind explosion where I was like, I could probably sing jazz. Number 6, I technically haven't done yet. It is Legos. I loved Legos growing up, specifically Lego spaceships. I loved making Lego spaceships, making up. It was like my favorite thing to do. What was always interesting is if I go play Legos with friends who were girls, they were always building houses and cities and stuff like that. Like play sets, like dollhouse-y type stuff. And I always want to make spaceships. And so like there was one time where like I had to not make spaceships and just join these other two girls who were making like a city. And that was a lot of fun. It challenged me in a lot of ways. And it felt weird, but and I enjoyed it. And it's not like I never did that, but I just always really loved making spaceships. So that's what I do now. Number 7 is woodworking / wood turning. So my girlfriend's really into this. This is technically my girlfriend. She's actually in her workshop right now making something. I just love that. I love that she does that. She gets all dressed up in like t-shirt and jeans and like puts a bandana on, and I call her Workshop Barbie. But like we went to a wood turning convention and like there was like 5 girls there. Like it's a men's thing. And then there's like a small group of women who are mostly lesbians who are very kind and very inclusive and be like, hey, I see you as women, like join our like cool women's circle thing. I tried to turn a pen, like they're teaching you how to turn a pen, and like the man, like he saw me as a woman, whether or not I passed or not, I don't know or care, but like he definitely saw me as a woman. And then I'm trying to turn this pen, and for everyone else, he like just lets them like learn it. But for me, he's like, can I do it for you? I was like, okay. That was weird. My girlfriend was so mad. But we have a lathe at home, and I got these pen stuff, and I'm gonna make some really cool pens. Number 9 is camping. This is something that I'm really glad that I was a Boy Scout for. And I think it's really cool that it's now just Scouts. Like Scouts are just very all-inclusive, including trans people, and it's so cool. But camping is something that I always loved doing growing up, and it was something that boys did and girls didn't do, right? Because of bugs and whatever. And yeah, I hated bugs at first, but I don't know if that's because I was a girl or just because I was a kid, but that was something I had to get over. It's like, oh, there's a bug on me, whatever. But like I love camping. I love sleeping outside. I love the survivalist nature of it. You're always like on the go. You have to like set up your tent, and then you have to set up a fire, and then you have to cook food, and then it's like you're always doing stuff, and you're always in like a state of flow. And it's I just love it. And then number 10 is eating chips. So like when I think of a person eating chips, it's not a woman. I also like chips. This is not a dig on people who like chips. And my girlfriend, she teases me gently about it. And it's in a way that I feels like, oh, really? Nikita likes chips? And I'm like, oh yeah, I like chips. And I don't know how to explain it, but it's something that I associate. But I love chips. I love eating chips. I love fancy chips. I love cheap chips. I love all kinds of chips. I love a little salty snack. Anyways, so those are mine. What are we at now? A raw take of this is 30 minutes. But anyways, so those are my things that I feel are masculine, but I still like. And I like it now in a feminine way. What are yours? What do you think? Do you associate these things as masculine? Like, do you feel that way with your assigned gender at birth versus your actual gender? Like, do you find certain enjoyment? Like what? The moral of the story is just enjoy things that you enjoy, and don't let people get in your way of enjoying the things that you enjoy. As long as you're not hurting anyone, right? Then that's fine. Okay. Well, thank you so much for watching this. Anyways, that's all I have for today. That's it. Just 30 minutes of content, whatever. And before we get started, I am trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you could please subscribe, do it. It's good for you.